Okay, so today we're going to build a computer for use on our LinuxCNC controlled router. And what we have is we've got a new case with a power supply that came with it. That was around $50. We've got a solid state hard drive, 60 gigabytes, and I don't remember how much it was off the top of my head. We've got 4 gigabytes of RAM for the motherboard. Make sure that your RAM is the same RAM that's required by the motherboard. There's all kinds of different RAM out there, and it's got to be the right specs, otherwise it won't work. We've got a J1900 motherboard that this is a mini ATX motherboard, which gives more expansion slots. So, came with a couple data cables and a back piece and whatever that is. So this motherboard has, I don't want to touch it yet. Wrist strap ground on, so hopefully I don't toast anything. Okay, so we'll pull this out of here. One thing you don't want to do either is you don't want to set your motherboard on, or any other piece of electronics on a static bag, because there could be a static charge on the outside of the bag, and when you set it down on there it could discharge and then cause trouble there. So this motherboard was only about $50, I think it was. Altogether we've got less than $200 in parts here. I think it's right around 150 total actually. So, you know, it's not too bad of a deal to get a computer built from scratch just for running LinuxCNC. If you notice, this motherboard doesn't have a parallel port on the back panel here, so I've got this cable, because it does have a parallel port header right there. So this cable will break that header out to a regular DB25 connection there. But as I was saying, this mini ATX, excuse me, has 3 PCI slots there, so we should be able to get plenty of expansion out of it instead of having just a single PCI slot. So that's kind of the overview of what we got, and we'll go ahead and get ready to build it, and I'll just kind of go through put it together pretty quick. So, hope you enjoy. So now when you're getting ready to put the motherboard in, you want to make sure that you keep touching the case, and that'll discharge any static that's on you before you touch the motherboard. And you can pick the motherboard up. And I try to just handle it by the shield connections here. As much as possible. I gotta work on picking up that one piece for the USB. Get a screwdriver. It's good to have a little set of screwdrivers on hand anyway. Pick this up so that'll slide under it. Oh, got two more things to knock out here. Alright, there's 6 holes on this motherboard, but we're only going to be able to use 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 manholes that we can use. Took that other one out because it wasn't going to fit. Okay. So these are the screws we're going to use to screw the motherboard down. Make sure nothing's contacting where you're putting the screw. There should be no contact between any of the circuits and the screw. Okay, so that looks pretty good for the motherboard there. See how everything lines up. So next, see what we got here. Just put it this way. And we got the 4-pin screws here. That should be no problem. I'm just checking clearances to make sure that all the wiring harness and everything reaches everything. Next is we're gonna hook up our SATA drive, our hard drive. Break it out. It mounts in with 4 screws on the side. Or it could be mounted on the bottom. So this right here is our hard drive case. Figure out how it slides out. There it goes. Looks like we've got 4 mounting holes right there. We're going to use that hole, that hole, that hole, and that hole. And that'll slide back down in there like that. So let me screw this together. Okay, so we've got our solid state drive now mounted, or hard drive, or whatever you want to use. I choose solid state drives for these because they're more vibration resistant. See if I can get it on the slots in the right spot. Alright, so that's locked in place. You can put a screw in there to secure it further, but it's not going anywhere. So now we have USB and HD audio, which come out to the front panel here. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up those, the appropriate spot on the motherboard. The USB goes on here in one way and one way only. There's a blank. You can see that blank. And the USB 1 has a pin missing, so it has to go on there the correct way. Get it seated all the way down on there. That's done. Let's look at what we've got for our speaker connection and see if it matches up with what's here. There we go, audio. Again, it's pin oriented. So that goes to right there. Goes to this connector right here on the motherboard. Connect that up. need audio for LinuxCNC, but I'll probably be doing some screen capture stuff with it, so I'm gonna go ahead and hook it up. And the last thing we have is our power connections. Power switch right there. You can see this. -P. We got that. So now let's put in this DB25 cable. See, it's just got the header cable here, and then it has the header cable end here and the DB25 end here. That's all there is to it. So pin 1, which is going to be this one over here. Pin 1's going to be the red, so I'll put it over here. Get it on there. It seated all the way down on there. Take out this last cover here and I'll put it in there. Screwdriver. Remove the filler plate. So there we have that. We got a parallel port there. So we're almost done. We'll go ahead and we'll put in our memory. like I said, make sure you get the right memory. This has got it written all over the memory slots to make sure you have the right stuff. So we have DDR3 1.35 to 1.5 volt. So this is DDR3 1.5 volt. Once again, we want to make sure that we've touched everything here. Line it up with the slots. Pop the locks back. Push down and then the slots will lock in. Line it up, make sure the notch lines up with the pin in the middle of the slot. Make sure you can't put it in the wrong direction. Push down, and it clips the locks in place. So now I have our RAM put in. Now I need to hook up power and hook up our hard drive. So we'll grab one of the SATA cables that came with the motherboard. So you just take the end of the SATA cable, line it up, and we'll put it in SATA 1, and we'll bring it over here, and it has the notch. You need to line the notch up with the L tang on the hard drive. So you got that. Next we need power to the hard drive. So we'll need a SATA power connector. We'll take that, and again it's got the little notch there. You need to line that up with the notch. There's a little tang on the power connector for the hard drive. And that's that right on. Okay, the last thing we've got to do is hook up power to the motherboard. So some motherboards will have different power connectors. This is a mini ITX board, so it's got ITX connectors. It uses both the big 20 plus 4 pin and then also the 4 pin connector both. So we'll hook up the 20 plus 4 pin first. Push it down until it clicks in place. And then the 4 pin will go over here. And push it down until it clicks in place. This is a fanless board, but it does have a spot for a system fan. We do have a fan on our case, so I guess we'll go ahead and hook it up. It's a normal fan connector, and then there's a mating header here. So we'll hook that up right there. Just drag this around this way. So that's pretty much it. We should have everything hooked up now. All we need to do is hook it up to a monitor and see if it posts. So we'll work on that here in a little bit. Thanks for watching the assembly.